And England make it back-to-back wins in the Six Nations. Not the prettiest, not comfortable by any manner of means. They were made to work hard for it, but they did just enough in the second half, Jerry Flannery.
Yeah, I think you give credit to England because they grounded out, but you know, I was really impressed with the Welsh performance. You know, they looked rudderless in the first half last week against Scotland. They pulled out a resurgence in the second half. It was hard to see whether it was just how poor they were in the first half, but you know, they showed up today. There was some massive performances. Wainwright, Rafael, we spoke about a lot. Thomas Williams, they got through a huge amount of work, and I think they deserve an awful lot of credit.
So smiles all round at Twickenham as England make it 2 from 2 in the championship. Full-time score, England 16, Wales 14. Jackie, all yours.
Hugh, Jerry, thank you. And just about deserved it there, Jamie?
Yeah, I think they...
You said
that very reluctantly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like what Jerry was saying there, they grinded it out. It wasn't pretty. Credit to Wales for showing up and not putting in the first half performance that they did last week and building on their second half performance. England obviously would be happy with the win. They suffocated Wales, particularly in that second half, and the momentum swung their way. Wales looked a little bit devoid of a plan B, bar one-off rugby, and that just plays into the system of England, and they shut it down. They were fairly ruthless.
Steve Borthwick's constantly talking about a work in progress. We're getting there. Are you seeing improvements based on today, Steve?
I think it was such a low quality game in terms of the skill set on show, the attacking ability from both sides. Like we were talking about Freddie Stewart, well, we certainly were here in the studio about getting player of the match just because he was taking high balls all afternoon. Tommy Rafael as well, brilliant around the breakdown, but you know, not that much ball carrying and getting in behind each other's defences. And yeah, for me it was a low quality game. And to answer your question, Jackie, I can't see an improvement yet from England. Hopefully we see a bit more of it later in the tournament, but at the minute they just look like a team that are maybe a little low in confidence and are still a little unsure of what exactly the coaching staff want from them.
I'd say you could probably say the same thing about Wales, Hannah, based on what we've just watched. 2 weeks in a row, two tight defeats, and we're still not sure what they're doing.
Yeah, look, at times they gave us glimpses of some really nice free-flowing rugby. We saw that wonderful try, slip back on the inside, exploiting that weakness in the English defence. But other than that, particularly their attack looked deficit or devoid of any sort of imagination about how they're going to defeat that or get around that suffocating English defence. And unfortunately for Lloyd at 10, he just doesn't seem to be up to it and didn't really know what to do other than kick it up in the air to their strength in Freddie Stewart or try those crossfield kicks, as Jerry Flannery was saying. They just weren't working out for him, and for Wales to do well, I think they need someone else to step in there at 10, but I don't really know who, to be honest, because Costello's not up to it either.
Yeah, they look like they're out of options. And from England's point of view, they did what they do well, though, Jamie. They managed to suffocate them out of the game, find a way to win, just as we saw them doing in the World Cup. It doesn't have to be pretty.
No, and if they go on and win loads, no one's going to be looking back at the performance, much like the World Cup, actually, to be honest. But for the players, I mean, it's another win, right? And it's a tough win for them. You know, to come back, and they weren't ahead until 71st minute, something like that. That will build confidence into the squad. I think you saw improvements on the defensive system a little bit more. There's still chinks in their armour, particularly around the first and second defender. I think Ireland are going to be looking to exploit that quite a bit. They're not coming up with the rest of the line, but they're a little bit better. But they're still, I don't think, playing to their strengths. And Jerry highlighted the fact that the system in Ireland is very, very different in terms of we've got 4 clubs and easier to influence those players coming through. All these clubs are playing very different styles of rugby in the Prem. So expect him to get a little bit better because he has time with them now. But it's not scaring me anyway from an Irish perspective, if I'm honest.
It feels like almost... I know there's been so much chat about the English defence over the last couple of weeks. Felix Jones going in there. Like, their intensity when they want to tackle is through the roof. And then their intensity when they have the ball in hand, turnover ball, is, OK, well, just kick it down the other end of the field and get after it. There doesn't seem to be the same intensity to service the breakdowns, retreat. You know, it's about getting yourself up off the floor, back into an attacking position, being an option. And that's what you see Ireland. They're very efficient of being able to do that and have a multi-phase attack. there wasn't hardly any multi-phase attack today from both sides, and that's why, I reiterate, it felt like it was a really low-level, skilled game.
There's one sense, though, right? In that strategy, it works. They've had the pressure on them. They go back to type. They know, Hannah, that it works. But it does make them look like maybe they're out of a game plan. Maybe they look lazy because of what Stephen is talking about. But ultimately, it's working.
Yeah, look, I suppose at times they do rely obviously on their kicking game massively, and their hopes is that they kick it downfield, win the territory possession or territory battle, and then
they're doing
hope that the other team make a mistake, and they do that, but it's not pretty to watch. And I can say for certain if I was on that team, it wouldn't be pretty or fun to play in either. But I suppose they are grinding out results, and at the end of the day, that's what they want. But it's not a very nice way to play rugby, and if we're trying to expand the game, and I know Borthwick doesn't really care about that right now. It's not a very nice, expansive brand of rugby that we know that players within that squad are well capable of playing.
He's going to be he's measured on wins, but let's just look at the calibre of the sides they just played against in 2 weeks in a row. If they come up against Ireland will unpick that, I think, a whole lot easier than other sides.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. It's not great to watch.